All right. So on these, the reason that I think it's so important that we talk about the 1,761 bills that were introduced is because that's where the let's make a deal politics that's going to happen now, that's where we're going to find that information. So we can look at the K through 12 bill, we can look at public safety, we can look at transportation, we can look at higher ed, we can pick health and human services, and we can look at some of the bad policy and good policy that are in these bills. But I want to focus for a minute on transportation, because the transportation omnibus bill is a perfect example of why omnibus bills are not just should, are a violation of the Constitution. Go ahead.
What I want to do, Sue, is share with the audience what the Constitution actually says. And in Article 4, which is a section of the Constitution of Minnesota that deals with the legislative power and authority, Article 17, law shall embrace only one subject. No law shall embrace more than one subject which shall be expressed in its title. So in the Transportation Funding Bill, that's what the title is, funding. But in this transportation funding bill that was given to the governor, House File 1140, I looked through it and happened to find a few other things other than transportation spending. One of the subjects is a carbon monoxide poisoning education program. Now, I understand the concept of carbon monoxide poisoning, but that is a separate bill. That's a separate law, and it was tucked in here probably to get somebody's to go along with the transportation funding bill.
No, it was actually even more interesting than that. It was a horrible accident where a young teenager died.
Died in his garage.
And this family went to the legislators in that district and they said, we don't want other families to suffer this horrible tragedy like we did. Will you please educate people? Well, you know what? That doesn't belong in an omnibus bill. And to be perfectly honest, I do have a heart, but to be perfectly honest, it doesn't belong in Minnesota law. So they couldn't find any other place to put it at this point in time. If they wanted to do it, it should have been a standalone bill. But what they did is they tucked it into the
you'll get omnibus transportation bill.
Thank you. Yes, they tucked it in there because who could be against that?
Right.
Well, the bottom line is nobody was against it. And the way they got around it is they tied it into the driver's license. So when your children, grandchildren, whoever goes to take their driver's test, there's a little section in there. Instead of being focused on teaching our children how to drive on the roads, what the laws are, what the rules are, maybe how to merge or how to stay out of the left lane if you're driving slow, anything like that. But now they're going to be learning about carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yes. And I like you, I understand there was a tragedy. We have tragedies every day across Minnesota and across the world, in fact, but we don't need to regulate these. And putting them in a bill with transportation is a problem that I have. It's illegal. It needs to be a standalone bill. That's the purpose of this, so that people can be held accountable, our representatives, for their voting records.
Yes.
Another bill I saw in there was the boat docks. Currently, Transportation Department charges a fee for a special permit. Like you'll drive down a freeway and you'll see a big semi go by with a concrete beam on there. They're taking it to build a bridge somewhere. They got to pull a special permit and they charge the state charges a fee. That fee and the scale in it has been added to taking your boat dock from your home to a lake property. Now that to me is a
tax increase.
Right. Organ transplants, there's a whole section in there on organ transplants that was added to this bill. And one more I saw in there too was forcing communities, specifically charter cities, to cooperate with the state on light rail around the state. Currently, charter cities are supposed to have autonomy from state regulation. They do their own thing, they like we're supposed to have under our Constitution. Now they're being incorporated and included in this process, forcing the cities to comply with the regulations of the Met Council, whoever else. That's the intent of this. That subject needs to be a separate, on its own standalone bill, so that representatives be held accountable up or down how they voted on a bill, not tucked into transportation. Now, this process has been going on for decades. As far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of laws that are passed that are illegal because they violate specifically this real simple part of the Constitution, and you can find them in Health and Human Services and all these other bills that were passed. So that's basically how an omnibus works.
There should be no such thing as an
There
omnibus
should not
bill.
be an omnibus
I-
bill.
and-
It's a
and-
garbage bill.
It's a garbage bill.
It's a garbage bill.
You know, we talked about your 1,761 bills introduced, and that's bills that are multiple bills tucked inside of them. And I'm with you. I want standalone up and down votes.
Votes on everything.
The way our
The
Constitution
Constitution
requires it.
It's not, they're not, the Constitution doesn't ask or suggest, it requires this.
All right, so the last day of the legislative session, and in fact, let's go the last weekend of the legislative session. You were there.
You watched it on TV and I was there.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Tell us what happened.
I went down there on Monday night because last year I went down there the whole weekend and I wasted my time. So this year I waited till the last day. So we went down there a couple hours before closing a session, and I went and sat in the gallery. There was a lot of people down there too, a lot of protesters chanting about how
Paid protesters.
the Republicans were ruining everybody's life. So I went down there, we set up in the gallery, and it was very interesting watching. At the time, they were debating the Legacy Amendment funding, which is about, I think it's $400 million every biennium. That's required by the Constitution. We passed the 2008 Legacy Amendment foolishly
passed.
because we took the legislative authority away from the legislatures and put in a Constitution. So the Democrats are,
Let me say one thing about this goes back to state spending, and I will reiterate my point. The
Yes.
Minnesota still has a spending problem. We talked about omnibus bills, we talked about the budget, and we talked about the $34 billion budget that the legislators are trying to negotiate with Governor Dayton on how much to spend. I want to point out to people that the budget that the state of Minnesota spends every biennium is actually closer to $60 billion. When you include the dedicated funding and the special revenue streams that exist outside of the general
and federal
fund.
funding. And federal
and it-
money,
yes,
federal
and-
aid. It's basically double.
Minnesota has plenty.
We have
of
12
money.
or 13 different funds, and general fund is the only one we're talking about.
Right.
Okay, now where was I at again?
Okay, now you're
I
on
was
the
talking about
legacy money, because this is
So-
important. They
so-
have to.
They have to spend it. They don't have a choice.
Right.
Even if we're $100 billion in the hole, they have to spend this money on these programs. Now, what I found was interesting was the Democrats are filibustering. They didn't want this to get passed because it basically would have closed out a budget for the governor. So the Republicans could have said, now we've given the governor a full budget. But that was what the sticking point was. So the Democrats filibustered for 2 hours that I was there. But the people who were filibustering were the ones who helped pass the constitutional amendment 2 or 3 years ago. And I thought that was fascinating. Now they're arguing the opposite point of, oh, we shouldn't have this requirement. We should be able to spend this money as the responsible legislators according to the Constitution and so on and so forth. So I chuckled in the balcony watching this process. Then I went over, before we went in there, I stopped at the governor's office, and it was
He
like
was
cricket.
gone.
It was like crickets.
He was
all
gone.
locked up, nobody's there. But
He
there was
went home.
there was probably 10 press out there all ready to go to listen to him talk. And this is like 10 o'clock, 10:30 or 11 o'clock, somewhere in there. So we left the session after session was finally adjourned, went back out there, and I stayed until probably 12:30 outside the governor's office waiting for my governor to come out there and make a comment about the end of session. Crickets. He wasn't around. I don't know where he was, what he was doing, but he wasn't at. Now, a governor should be there as the leader, the last one to turn the lights out. And when I'm governor in 2014, I'll be there till the lights are on. I'll be the last one to leave. But that's what they should be. The governor should be there. That's his job.
Yes, it should be. But to be fair, he wasn't the first governor to go home. You might remember with Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura went home. Tim Pawlenty was the majority or the minority leader. I can't remember which one. And him and Roger Moe drove to Jesse Ventura's house with the budget in the waning hours of the night. So it isn't, but I just think Mark Dayton's whole handling of this legislative
process,
session.
he could have done a lot better.
A lot
better
better.
being a leader, showing leadership. And I
We
didn't see
haven't
it.
seen
And I didn't
leadership.
see it. No.
And now we're talking the special
session.
and we're talking a possible governor shutdown. And you've got the governor of our state saying we need to hire a mediator because
mediator.
he can't do his job.
Well, last I checked in my Constitution I have right here, I'll show everybody again. Excuse me for leaning. I didn't expect to be doing this.
You
there it
always
is,
have
folks.
your
I keep this with
Constitution
me.
handy, always.
This is our state constitution. Mediator in here between the governor and legislature on the budget isn't in here. So we don't need a mediator. We need to take responsibility. That's what we sent them to St. Paul for, and they need to do their job.
I consider that abdicating his responsibility, and it shows that he is a non-essential employee.
Yeah, we're having, yeah, we can
That's
get into
going
that.
to be the big talk
That'll be
now.
our next half-hour show, talking about that whole subject.
The whole thing is really interesting. Now, Governor Dayton has met with Amy Koch and Senator Amy Koch and Representative Kurt Zellers, and so I think we're starting to see some movement. But hiring a mediator is
Not
talk
part of the
about
movement.
failure to
Not-
do your
yeah.
job.
And at this point, as a citizen, not as a candidate or as us here, but as a citizen, I'm so fed up with this. Shut the government down. I know what happens when we don't shut government down. We just get more government. So at this point, I'm just, and I don't know how people out there in the audience feel, but if you have an opinion and we haven't come to a budget agreement yet, and we're at that point, call your representative, tell them where you stand. Either way, whether you want to shut down, not shut down, whatever. But let people know at the state capitol where your position is. But for me, I've had
It's
enough.
summer. Do you think people are even paying attention? Do you think your average
I think they
Joe
will when
and
they go up
Jane,
to their state park and it's closed and they got a week camping trip planned.
who can
and
afford a vacation?
I'm not. My vacation's going out in my backyard, but I got a nice backyard too. So,
Yeah.